So moving on to the second film, which was shot a year later. It's the same thing. It's called The Heights by Broken Word Productions, and this is like part two of it. So we see a jib shot coming down. It's supposed to be at night. The audio is like, flashbacks of audio and stuff. So what I'd probably have done here, just made it a little bit more blue, just to simulate moonlight. Just add a bit more blue into the lift. Actually, I think I've done that here, actually. The face is a little bit pink, so I'd probably just add a little bit more green into it in the edit. But to be fair, like, my face is green, like green. my face has a bit of magenta in it as well sometimes. So, like, show the camera, sometimes I just have to remove it, Yeah, but there's not much motivation for this. I mean, you can probably tell it's like, it is what it is, and there's nothing too over the top about it. That was a really nice cut there as well, actually. I really like that. This one, again, don't know what time of day this is supposed to be. So I would have probably just made it, I think what I would have done here, I would have got probably a dado down here. Shone it this way with a gobo on it, like perhaps barn doors, not the barn doors, the Venetian blinds. Then what you would have got loads of patches of light going over it like that, and that could have looked quite cool, just to add a bit more shape to it, because at the moment this is not contrasty at all. It doesn't look very good. And then I could have potentially also put a little LED tube under here, just had a little spot, and then I could have also, that's mostly what I would do, to be fair. Just had that little patch of light like that. Even the Kino flow up here, just shining down on them, would be quite cool. Just depends on what time of day you want it to be. This one, what I would have done here, let's just have a little look. So you're going to come in. So I would have angled his body a little bit more to the side, and then had some diffusion over there, just to make that a little bit nicer. The light on her looks quite good, to be fair. Not too much of a fan of that angle, but it's all fine. I think that's actually someone's hat here, because it was a toddler. So we just had someone's hat there as a stand-in, because we knew he wouldn't be able to be that still. In terms of lighting, fairly happy with it, to be fair. I mean, most you could do, probably put a 300D out here, 600D out here, just add a bit more into it. But I quite like that contrast over here. Quite like that. I quite like the color grade as well. And I think I shot this when I was like 19 or something like that. One-man band. This is quite nice. It's just a little slide in. I think that's diffused enough. If I wanted to, I could just add another bit of diffusion up here. Would have been fine. This one's all a bit green. I think I've just downloaded some new like looks or something like that, so I was just playing around with those. Didn't really know how to grade at the time. So with this one, I would have just put my Aperture B7C bulb up here, shining down, just to give him a little bit more light here, because it's a bit sort of like, I think it would be nice and natural, and it'd be a very quick way to do it as well, especially as a one-man band. You don't want to, I wouldn't want to like use fill lights and backlights and stuff like this, because it wouldn't be natural. I just want a little bit of light coming down on his face like that. Would have been added a little bit of something. So again, when we go to this scene over here, she's a bit purple there, she's a little bit green there, although that scene does look a bit more cinematic. Quite like that. I actually quite like this frame, actually. I quite like that light up there. She's got nice soft lighting on her face there. What I would have done though, in the grade, I would have literally just added a little gradient filter going that way, and actually bring it down here a bit, and then that would have been a lot darker. So in the subject, it's a bit more obvious who the subject is. I would have also brought down this door a little bit as well. Basically just like a little vignette. See, this, I always struggled with stuff like this because there's nowhere you can really hide lights as well. I mean, one thing I could do now, I could put up a little wall spreader just above them. I'd probably put my little Aladdin light on a little dome so it goes around like that. Or even just hung a B7C bulb off it as well, just to keep in just the same keeping with how it's looking already with the lights behind. Yeah, it would have been a bit nice to have a bit of light there, but I think it's fine. Yeah, this sort of thing. Again, her face is a bit purple there. Doesn't really match too well. It would have been maybe quite nice to have a little lamp on the table, depending on the time of day. So we go from our medium close-ups to our close-ups. The lighting isn't too bad, to be fair, like up there and stuff. Definitely bring down the midtone, the midtones down a little bit. It's a bit too warm there, way too pink there. But yeah, the light in general, it looks fairly natural, to be fair. On this one, probably just have a lamp here, B7C bulb, have it normal like that. Put down a gradient filter down this way. So then in DaVinci Resolve, just to bring down that exposure just a little bit, so we know where to look. This lighting was just awful because it was I didn't have any battery powered lights back then. I think I had like one LED light or something, or two really small little LED lights. So you can fix this a little bit in the grade, probably if I tried, but kind of 5D Mark III footage, not too keen on trying that really. Not sure what's going on with the color grade. I think this was an older version. Yeah, this must have been an older version, an older draft or something. But what I would have done now, I would have had probably a Falcon Eyes light coming from this direction over here, shining this way, probably, or even use a dome. To keep it small, actually, I'd probably have a little Aladdin light up here on the little dome. That way you can shine the light over to them, and you can have it on a little boom like that to make it look like a street lamp. The benefit of having that as well, instead of something like a Aputure 300D, is that you can, it's by color, so you can change the color temperature of it, which would be beneficial. So moving on to the next shot over here. Again, I would have just, when it came to his time on screen, I would have literally just moved the light from them, just moved it a little bit this way. Just to light his face up just a little bit more. I would have kept it probably nice and warm, and then ideally that sky would be blue, and then that street lamp would be tungsten, so we have a bit of contrast. But I think the white balance was just, I'm not sure why. Obviously I wasn't that good back then with white balances, I think. So hang on, we did actually use a light for this, but it's totally obvious that we've got one on. So ideally with this, again, having the boom, putting it on the other side of their faces from this direction, because we always want the light to be coming from the opposite direction, which does make it a little bit hard because we've got this shot here. So I think it's fine to have them lit like that, and then as soon as they turn around, I think it's fine to have the light up over this way. Yeah, you know, with cameras now, even the A7S Mark III, I think it'd be totally fine to just have like a backlight over, you know, a little backlight in them, and have a little fill with a little polyboard or something like that. I think that would have worked quite well. So it's a bar scene. You can see, you know, you got the wide here, so you know, I think the color grade is just completely off in the scene, but hey. So with this, probably just stick up a Kino flow down here, shining it that way, or potentially just having a boom over like this, light coming like this, And then when we go over to the bar scene, I don't like that this side of his face is lit and this side isn't. So what I would do, again, just have a light over here, and then when we see the wide, I'd probably have them facing each other or something, but it's obviously not my place because I'm not directing, I'm just the cinematographer. Yeah, so what I'll do, which I've done on a short film lately, I've just put a little tube in the background over there. I did dado, pointed up there to make another little colour, and then with the barman I just put a little Aladdin light down at the bottom there under the bar, so when he comes up to the bar he's uplit like that, but then you put some diffusion on it so it's not too sort of like campfire horror story and yeah. And because this is a bit of a rough scene as well, you know, they're quite violent characters towards each other, you know, I'd rather use harsh lighting, so perhaps just a really strong aperture 600D on a Fresnel blasting, you know, in their direction would have been, you know, quite nice. Let's just go around on a little slider there. So then we've got an outside scene here. Just looks fine, to be fair. I don't like the lens flare though. I don't want that lens flare. I tried quite hard to get rid of that. But I think it's just there's no real contrast in the back. You know, it'd have been better if there was some kind of contrast in the back. And again, over here, just soften up the light just a little bit. But then again, she's in a bit of a harsh mood because she just found out her boyfriend's cheating on her or something like that. So it might make sense to have it harsh light and just leave it like that. But again, just bring gradient filter, make it darker this side so we know where to look. So this scene could have been quite tricky because, you know, it was towards the end of the day and I was like, right, we need to go for this shot, we need to get this shot, this shot, this shot. You know, coverage of him, coverage of her, coverage of the other guy coming through the door. And then I think it might have been this guy here, Kaz, who literally just said, "Do you want to just do it all in one shot?" And I was like, yeah, sure. So I just put it on a dolly, a little track, and just went left and right and just put on my 16 to 35mm 2.8 lens, just started going back and forth. So then what I would have done here, if this lets me move it, in terms of lighting, probably put a little tube under here. Again, doesn't really need it too much. Put another tube under there. A little lamp over that side, over there. Quite like that light coming down here. I would have probably also, yeah, sometimes lately I quite like to put auto poles up for that one side, that side, or clamps or something like that, and then put in loads of Duvetine over the ceilings, and that way the contrasts, you know, it's sort of it's more of a contrast to the image, so it controls the light a lot better. This scene, I mean, it's cool that she's got light on that side of her face and this side is dark. I quite like that, so that's quite good. But again, probably just, I'm not sure what time of day this is supposed to be. That's the problem. Okay, so he's looking out the windows, so probably just 600D through the window, without much, what do you call it? Without much diffusion. I think that would have been better. And then when it came to her face in the grade, I would have literally just lowered the mid-tone detail and then added a bit more glow as well. And then potentially, if you wanted to make it over stylized, you can add a little backlight to the back over here, and that would have worked fine as well. With this scene, this was actually, I don't think I put up any lights whatsoever, so I just got this actress or actor to stand underneath the house lights, the kitchen lights. That was already there, but it doesn't really make sense because he's not lit that way as well. So, you know, what you can do, you can just use a wall spreader, Kino flow straight down like that. I think that would be the best thing to do for these sort of things. Just have something across the wall and just shoot straight down. I think that'd look quite nice. Again, you can have the little tubes in the background stuck to the walls or stuck underneath the cupboards and stuff. This is quite nice because you're shooting through. I like this because it's he's dark here, and he's in the cold, and then they're in the warm, and like they're nice and cozy and stuff, which is it's quite cool. Quite nice lighting on her because it's realistic, and that's really important. The only thing is that the background is probably too bright, so then I would ideally bring that down. So I'd put up my own light, turn the house lights off, put up my own light, and then I can bring the brightness of my own light down, or potentially I can highlight the luminance in DaVinci Resolve and then just bring it down a little bit, and obviously trying not to break the image, which would probably definitely happen with this particular camera because it's 8-bit. This scene is definitely too bright. He should be the only bright bit in it. This is too dark. This is too bright over here. So he should be like she is. So I think I lit for her, and then we're like, right, it's time to roll cameras. And then I was like, oh, I need to do that. So he's drunk right now. So I did a bit of a Dutch angle, and then made the tripod more sensitive, and then I just went like that with the tripod, and then sort of like gave it a bit more of a drunk atmosphere, as if a drunk person had filmed it. And then with her, as you can see, it's like static, so it's like, it's not moving anywhere. He had really cool lighting there though. Where is it? I don't think this is fully graded though. Yeah, I think there's some shots that weren't graded. Oh yeah, there we go. That's nice. I really like that because it's a bit of an angle. It's got nice lighting over there. Probably make more sense to have it over there instead, but I still like this. And then it's a tight frame, so this, straight down the middle. That's really nice. This one's quite nice because you've got. I think this is what I was saying about the previous take as well. Is that if you have the little lamp on the other side, then you have that little light there, and it looks a lot better. And you can see how much of a difference it makes knowing this sort of stuff compared to the one I did a previous year. So I realised a lot of the mistakes that I did on the previous one, and then I corrected it in this one. So you can see how much it's improved just in a year. Again, lighting coming from that side of the face, which is quite nice. I think this one, it goes back to what I was saying about having the frame nice and rich in the background over there. But yeah, the color grade is off again. I mean, I wanted her to look a bit ill because she sort of ran away. So like there's not much blood in her face and stuff. In terms of lighting, I was like, well, I just need it to be exposed. I think that's the only thing I really cared about that pack then, really. And then I was like, oh, cool. You know what? Let's have the headlights on. So we got the actor to come in, and then you had, that was quite cool. And then I think I had one little light on this side on a bit green. Either that or I had the light on this side and then had a different color because I really like that color contrast. That's really nice. That's really cinematic, actually. And then they just pass her over like that. And then again, shoot in this direction, so you always have this side to be darker on the frame. So I don't think, again, didn't have too many LED lights here. I do want to put up an LED light and make it look like, it would have looked really artificial and fake. So I was like, I just want to make it desaturate it a bit cold because it is a really cold scene. And it makes total sense to do that. I'm not sure if I would use a brick wall if it was up to me. I guess that kind of means that it's kind of like prison-y, which could have a cool effect. Over here, I quite like that lighting. It's just coming down here. It looks quite natural and stuff. It looks normal. In terms of the framing, could probably, again, probably bring the couch out, have a bit more depth in the background because I really don't like white walls. But the lighting isn't too bad in this. It looks like as the closer to the end of this short film, as I get closer to the end of the short film, I think it almost shows that I know to have the lighting on that side of the face now, while the other side of the face to the camera. I think with this one it was just a tripod going into like that. Or it might have been a slider, but I do think it's a tripod on two legs just going into the camera, into the frame like that. But overall, this short film, there's some white balance issues again.